For the next demonstration, I want to take a piece of plastic tubing and I'm going to warm that up over the flame. And you can see that it's starting to soften a little bit. And then I want to draw that out to make a tip. And I'm holding it away from the flame. I want to make a tip on here. Once it's cooled, we can then take a knife and cut it at the thin part. So now I've got a pipette. Then I want to take that and place it into a stopper. And to push it into a stopper, it's often helpful to put a little bit of lubricant on the stopper. I'm going to push it all the way through. So that I can attach a piece of tubing to that. So we have some tubing, make that a little wet, and we put a piece of tubing on the end of this tube, like that. So that goes into a bottle, like this. I take a second piece of tubing, just a short piece, and put the flexible tubing onto that. And then I insert that short tubing just partially into the stopper. It doesn't have to go all the way through. So this is the apparatus that we have. Now add a small amount of water to the flask here, about 100 mils or so, 150 mils. The amount is not critical. Then we attach the tubing or the stopper to the bottle. Now I take a stand with a ring clamp on it, and then a second stand on which I set a beaker of colored water. I then take my bottle and I pass the tubes through the ring so that I can put the whole apparatus upside down in the ring, but I make sure I keep the longer tubing stopped. So we have it set up like this. The tubing that is connected to the drawn out tube is then placed in the beaker with the colored water. You may have to sort of support it a little bit. We're not heating anything here. So that sits in there. The other end then is allowed to drain into a beaker. And as you lower the end, water begins to run out, and the colored water is then drawn into the larger flask. And if I lower the beaker that's receiving the water, we can actually make a lovely fountain. The water right now is shooting right up against the top of the bottle. To stop it, simply raise the drain tube so that the water no longer runs out. Let me start it again. I'll lower the tube, the drain tube. And you can see the water running uphill actually, going up instead of down. So what makes it go up? Well, obviously we're dealing here with pressure. When the water drains out through the tube that is just barely sitting in the stopper, it creates a lower pressure inside the flask. That lower pressure draws water in from our second beaker. The second beaker here. So that draws water in, which in turn then goes through that little tube and shoots out like a fountain. And the lower the drain tube, the lower the pressure in the flask, and the higher the water shoots up in the bottle. We need a little bit of water initially in the bottle to start the reaction off. So we need a bit of water in here. That's why we need about 150 milliliters or so of water in the bottle initially, so that when it begins to drain, it then creates a lower pressure inside.